Hi, and welcome to this vocabulary lesson because we are going to look at synonyms, collocations in context, and words that belong in the word family. I hope you'll stick around with me every single day, learn these 3,000 words with me. Later, later. Notice when I say the word later with my North American accent, the T says a D. There's a reason we do this. And when it comes to North American pronunciation, I'm going to say we are just lazy, okay? If we have, so T, 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 t is a whispered sound. It doesn't use the voice, but A and use the voice. It's hard for us to go from voiced to voiceless and then back again. So unless we want to emphasize the T, we just reduce the T to a D, later. That's why it happens most of the time, later. And it happens mostly with a T, but sometimes it happens with an S as well, where we just either make it have a voice, so we'd say Z. You'll see examples of it. Later. Later means afterward, or now, let's say now is 5 o'clock. Later would be any time after 5. So after is a synonym. Thereafter, afterward, soon, subsequently. We might use then. That would show a sequence. Ensuing. It's anything that happens after the time that is now. That's later. So later can mean at a future time. I'll call you later. The action will happen after now, but the exact time is unknown. Later is an adverb of time, and it's an adverb of future time. So we use time adverbs to help us know what tense we're supposed to use. For example, let's look at some different tenses with time adverbs. Let's say we have an adverb of frequency, like usually. Usually indicates a habit. If it's a habit, I'm going to use present simple, okay? A habit with usually, I'm going to use present simple. If I'm using a time marker like yesterday, then that's a simple past. And later is the same kind of thing, but it indicates future. So when you see the word later, you need to look for a future tense. Later can also be after another event. We can discuss the details later in the morning. Something is postponed until later stage of the same event. Later functions as an adverb of time. It's followed by a prepositional phrase in the meeting to specify when later, okay? We can discuss the details later in the morning, not now. It's in the future. And I just told you that later takes future tense, but in English, we don't have a real future tense. So we use present to indicate future. We use present progressive, like I'm going to go to the movie later. We'll use a modal verb, will, indicates the future, but other modal verbs like can with the word later will indicate future as well. Look out for my tense videos because I'll explain this whole English doesn't have a real future tense in more detail in those. Later can talk about a period of time after something happened. So later does not always mean future tense. If I have a time far in the past and then something that happened later but still in the past, I can use the word later. For example, 2 years later, they moved to Canada. So this is still talking about a time, but the context is, this is now, right here. And in 1976, they got married. Okay, that's a long time ago. In 1976, they got married, and 2 years later, they moved to Canada. Okay, so this is giving us a time sequence, but it's all in the past. In order for this to work, we needed this time moment so that we have a later. So later compares times, right? The later chapters are more important. That means that's as opposed to the earlier chapters. Later refers to chapters that come after the earlier ones. It's an adjective that modifies the noun chapters. We might use the word see you later. This is friendly and informal, and it means another time I'm going to see you at some future time. And the exact time really isn't important. It's just that we're going to see each other again. Here, later is an adverb of time. It's talking about some time in the future, and it's friendly. See you later. Later usually comes at the end of a clause. I'll finish it later. We can eat later. Most time elements come at the very end of your sentence in English. A few of them, especially the present simple adverbs of frequency, can be in the same place that all adverbs go, which are just right after the verb or between the two verbs. It can also start a sentence. For example, later that afternoon, it started to rain. Whenever an adverb starts a sentence like this, we are using the adverb to set the stage or to give the greater picture, and then we go in. 3 months later, they got married. We can use it as an adjective as well. For example, the later stages of the project were quite difficult. His later works showed great improvement. Or later versions of the book talked about. Later can mean after now or after another time. I'll do it later. Notice that later does not necessarily mean late. Late is not on time. On time might be at 5 o'clock and you come late, you're there at 5:05 or 5:30. Kind of depends on your culture, right? Late means something different in different cultures. The train is late. And latest usually means the most recent or the latest version, while later means a time after now. The opposite of later might be earlier. Lateness is the noun, and that's the state of always being late. There is no verb here, but the adjective is later, could also be late. But remember, late has a different meaning than later, and the adverb is later. I really hope that you enjoyed this word. Research shows that if you know 3,000 words, then you can pretty much say anything you need to say. I hope I'll see you tomorrow, and please like and subscribe.